Hello people, today we're going to be making this dodge system. We can dodge 8 ways. It's using velocity and rotation, so it doesn't check input, so you can use this on NPCs, any character you'd like. It's fully modular inside a component, and we use data tables and all that good stuff. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. I'm in a third-person character template. All I've done is I've gone to third-person character, clicked on third-person character in the components panel, typed in rotation, and I've unchecked orientate rotation to movement. So that means we can strafe and test the system as we make it. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to need to make a dodge component. So what I'm going to do is control space. I'm going to right click, I'm going to make a new folder, I'm going to put underscore game so I can keep all my game files in here. Double click that, new folder again, blueprints, open that, new folder again, components, open that, and let's go to blueprint class, make a new blueprint class. This time it's going to be an actor component, click that, and I'm going to call it BPC underscore dodge component. We're creating it in a component, so this component will actually sit in our third person character, and then we can add code to this dodge component that we can then run on the third person character, which means that if you create NPCs or you create other blueprints that you are going to control and have dodging, you can also add this component into it and everything will be working just as it should be. So before we even open the component, let's go to our third person character. This character is just exactly how I get it from the template. I've added nothing to it. So let's go to the add component and let's get BPC dodge component. And that's going to add it to our third person character. I'm not sure why it's gone inside of this components panel at the top instead of the actual components section at the bottom. Yours might go into this bottom bit. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't seem to let me drag it over. So I'm just going to keep it where it is. Next, what we're going to need is an input so we can actually press dodge and have some logic. So what I'm going to do is press control space bar. I'm going to go to content, and I've already got an input folder that I use for the third person character. So I'm just going to double click that. And inside of actions, I've got an IA jump action. I'm just going to get that. I'm going to control D to duplicate it. I'm going to call it IA dodge. Next, I'm going to go back into the input folder and I'm going to open up the IMC default. I'm going to go to default key mappings, open up mappings, and let's add a new mapping. I'm going to select IA dodge, and I'm just going to bind this to my left alt key because that's the easiest one for me to press. And I think that's it for now, so let's just close that down. Next, I'm going to go to our third person character. I'm going to open up the IA dodge action event, and for now, I'm just going to put a print string off of started, and I'm going to put dodge exclamation mark. So now when we play, we can dodge. You'll see at the top left, it says dodge. We can't actually dodge, but we can press the button dodge. So next, what we're going to want to do is press control spacebar again. I'm going to go to content, game. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it enums. I'm going to double click this. I'm going to make an enumeration. So I'm going to right click, go to blueprint and enumeration. I'm going to call it E underscore dodge direction. An enum is a way of creating a list of named options. So instead of using numbers like an index, we can basically choose from clear values and it makes the system easier to read. So in our dodge system, we'll use the enum to store the dodge direction, such as forward, backward, left, right, and all that. We're going to make an 8-way dodge system. And then the game can check that enum when we set it and decide which direction to dodge in. So it's pretty simple. So I'm going to open up E dodge direction. I'm going to add 8 enumerators. So we want to get to new enumerator 7 because we actually start from new enumerator 0. I'm going to call this one front. Oh, front left, front, right. I'm going to call this one left. I'm going to call this one right. And we need back left, back right, and back. Like so. And we're done with that, so I'm just going to close it down. And then next, what we're going to want to do is we're going to open our content drawer. We're going to go to game, blueprints, components, and BPC dodge component. And we're going to start fleshing out the dodge component. So the first thing we want to do is we actually need a function. So we're going to call this calculate dodge direction. Now, the way we're going to find out the dodge direction, a lot of tutorials that I've seen show you how to do it using the, the move action value. So when you press a certain button, it will go in a certain direction, but that's no use for us because we want to make it modular. We want this to work with NPCs using AI behavior trees, etc. We also might want to use it inside the gameplay ability system where you can't actually access the action values without going through a load of drama and a load of mither that you don't really need to do. So the way we're going to do it is pretty simple. We're going to right click, get owner, and then we're going to drag off get owner. We're going to get velocity. We're going to drag off get owner again, and we're going to get actor rotation. And then we're going to right click and just get calculate direction, like so, and hook those in to the correct areas. Velocity to velocity and actor rotation to base rotation. Now, to actually show you how this works, we're going to come back to the third person character, and I'm just going to right click and get an event tick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get our velocity again. Get actor rotation, calculate direction, and I'm just going to come off event tick. I'm going to print string, and then I'm going to plug that in, and we're going to get a convert float to string node. And now when I play, you'll see we've got a 0 coming up on our screen. But if I move to the right, the left, we've got a -90. If I move to the right, we've got a 90. And if I move backwards, we've got 180. And if I move right, left, forward, right, forward, left, all that good stuff, we get all these values, these different values. Now, if I move my camera and move this way, we still get the same value pressing the forward key as we would pressing the right key when we are facing our character. That's exactly what we want, because if we're going this way using forward, we don't want to actually dodge forward, we want to dodge to the right. So no matter what key you're using, you'll still dodge the correct direction, which is exactly what we want. So I'm just going to delete that. So let's go back to the dodge component, and we need to add a few more things. So first off, I'm going to come from calculate direction, and I'm going to get a less than or equal node. I'm going to pull off calculate direction again, and I'm going to get a greater than node. And then from here, I'm going to get an and boolean. And I'm going to connect these both in. I'm going to drag off calculate dodge direction, and I'm going to get a branch. Now, if you want to get a branch a bit quicker, you can always press B and then left click, and you'll get a branch. So if you didn't know that, now you know. So let's just hook this and boolean into the condition. And then from here, we don't actually have the enum to set yet. So let's create that. So I'm going to go to variables, hit the plus icon, and I'm going to call this dodge direction. And I'm going to make the type E_dodge direction, like so. And now we've got a reference to our enum inside this blueprint, so we can actually just drag it off and hit set dodge direction. And off a true, I'm going to set this to front. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to our less than equals node. And these are numbers that I've played around with and found the best. You can obviously input your own numbers, but try to follow along with me. and then tweak them afterwards because you might not get the same results that you wish. So I'm just going to actually make this a less than or equal to 10 or minus 10 for the greater than node. So what that means is if we play, when we run forward, we actually get 0 if you remember correctly. And to the right, we get 90, and to the left, we get minus 90. So to have the values as less than 10 and more than minus 10 basically means that we've got a little cone going from each side of our player to allow a forward dodge. So after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these nodes. I'm going to select the branch and the set node, and I'm just going to press Control D and duplicate them. I'm going to connect the false into our new branch. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our second less than or equals node. I'm going to set it to 75. And I'm going to set the greater than node to 10. So again, all this is doing is getting a cone. Let me just go back. Getting a cone from around here in our player to around here. So if I move in I'll just go F8. If I go from here to here, I'll go front right. But if I go here, where it's 90, remember, but this is just checking if it's less than 75, then we can get a right direction. Hope this is making sense to you. So after that, I'm going to get front right for the set dodge direction. Then what we're going to do is select these nodes again. Select these. I'm just going to copy them this time so I don't have to keep selecting them. I'm going to paste them in, connect the false to the new branch. I'm going to get the less than or equals node is going to be minus 10. And the greater than node is going to be minus 75. So basically just the opposite of what we've just done. And I'm going to put it as front left. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that again. Paste that again. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the less than or equal to minus 75. I'm going to set the greater than to minus 120. And I'm going to set that to left. I'm going to paste it again. Connect the false to the branch. I'm going to set the less than or equal node to 120. I'm going to set the greater than node to 75. And I'm going to make that right. Next, I'm going to paste it again. Next, I'm going to do less than minus 120 and greater than minus 175. And we're going to go back left. I'm going to paste it again. And I'm going to do less than or equal to 175. And I'm going to do greater than 120. And we're going to set this to back right. And then finally, off of false, I'm just going to duplicate this set node. And I'm going to set dodge direction to back. And then all we're going to do is right click. I'm going to get a return node. We're going to drag in our dodge direction, put it next to return node, and just drag this node onto the return node. And it's going to set that as an output. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to get each one of these and we're going to plug this into the return node. I'm going to hit compile and save. And now if we go to BP third person character, where we've got our dodge input action, I'm just going to keep this print string, just move it to the side. I'm going to drag in our dodge component so we get a reference to it. And I'm going to just type in calculate dodge direction. I'm going to hook this up. And I'm going to plug in this enum into the print string. We're going to get an enum to string node. And then now when we play, if we dodge forward, we front, dodge backwards back, got back left, front right, and back right. So the enum is set correctly. So now all we've got to do is play a montage. I'm actually going to come to our dodge component, and we're going to click on any of these nodes. So we can have the function node here, and we're going to go pure on the side. And this just means that we don't need execution pins. So if I compile and save and go back to third person character, now you'll see that we don't need to plug this in, or we can just have it as a getter for this dodge direction, which is pretty handy. I'm going to keep the print string here for now, just for debugging. You can delete it if you'd like to, but it's a lot easier to see if anything goes wrong if we just keep a print string in here. So now I'm going to actually set this up a little bit more modular than maybe you'd like to, or you have to, but I just want to make sure that I can use this without having to go into the dodge component, and I can set up different dodge animations for different characters, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to our level. I'm going to control spacebar. I'm going to go to game, and I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it structs. Next, what we're going to do is create a new folder again, and I'm going to call it data tables. And then inside our structs folder, next what I'm going to do is right click and find structure, and I'm going to create one. I'm going to call it S abilities. And before we do anything inside there, what I'm going to do is right click, new folder again, and I'm going to call this folder abilities. Like so. I'm going to double click this, and I'm going to create a new structure again. I'll call this S abilities underscore dodge. I'm going to double click this to open it. We're going to change the first variable type to an Enum montage. Object reference. What we're going to do is call this one front. Add a new variable. Actually, I'm going to call that montage, front montage. Then I'm going to add a new variable, front left montage. Add a new variable, front right montage. Add a new variable, call it right montage. Then left montage. Then back left montage. And back right montage. Like so. And hit save. Then I can just actually close that down. Go to our content drawer. What I'm going to do is come back to our struct folder, and I'm going to duplicate this S abilities and just call it S abilities underscore unarmed. Then I'm going to open up S abilities, and I'm going to change this variable name to unarmed, and I'm going to set the type to S abilities unarmed, like so. Then I'm going to go back to the structs folder, open up unarmed. We're going to change this name to dash, or no, dodge, sorry. And then we're going to change the Boolean type to S abilities dodge. And now we can create our data table. So if we go back to game, data tables, and then right click, type in data tables, like so. And it's going to ask us to pick a structure. So we're just going to pick the S abilities that we created. Press OK. You might want to call this S player abilities, because you'll have to create a new one of these for every enemy and things like that. What we can do is call this DT underscore, I'm going to call it abilities because I only have a player. But basically what you want to do is create this DT abilities for your player, and then you can duplicate it and put it onto your enemy, and then you can add different abilities into there just by making new structs and adding them to the abilities unarmed struct. So what you want to do is hit this add button at the top, and now you'll see we've got a new row, unarmed. And then if you open up unarmed, dodge. And then when you get swords, etc., to get things because this will basically just give us access to different values that we set here, instead of having all these values inside of, say, the third person character or the dodge component. So every time we want to change a montage, or you can add float values, whatever you want, you can come straight to data table abilities and you can have everything in one place where you can just easily change any montage you want, any value you want. You don't have to go opening up multiple windows. You can just do it all from here. So this is going to ask us for montages. We don't actually have montages. I have imported a asset pack that I'm going to use. You can use any montage you want, but I'm just going to use this. So animation, sequence, I'm going to go to roll because I like to use roll animations. I'm going to open this up, and all I'm going to do is, I know mine are root motion, but they don't have root motion enabled. So I'm going to select all these, go to asset actions and edit selection and property matrix. I'm going to select all of them, go to root motion and enable root motion. So I'm going to save that and I can close this down. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select them all and I'm going to go create anim montage, and that'll just create an anim montage for all of them. You can go and rename them if you'd like. I'm just going to leave them as they are. And I'm going to come over to our data table and I'm just going to select each one that I need. So I'm going to put forward there, front left. So now you've done this and you've put all the correct montages in the correct place. What you want to do is come back to the dodge component, go to the event graph, and let's make a custom event. And we're going to call this dodge. Now off of dodge, I'm going to drag off and hit play montage. Now it's going to ask us for a skeletal mesh component, which we do not have. So in the begin play, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, I'm going to put get owner. And I'm just simply going to cast to character. And I'm going to promote this to a variable and call it character ref. And hit compile and save. And now I'm going to drag in character ref, get the mesh, and plug that straight into skeletal mesh component. Tidying this up a little bit. Next, it's going to ask us for our montage to play, but our montage is in this DT abilities. We don't actually want to get the montage here. So what we're going to do is create a new function, and we're going to get dodge montage. Montages, what I call it. And what we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to get data table row, like so. And this is how we access our data table. I'm going to hit compile and save. It's not going to let me compile actually. So what we want to do is we just want to go to data table and let's select the abilities, and the row name, we're just going to keep it as unarmed. Compile and save. And then from the out row, what we're going to do is we're going to break S abilities. And then we are going to break again, break unarmed. And then we're going to break one more time, get all of our dodge animation. And from row found, we're going to get a return node. What we're going to do is get the front montage, drag it on, and do that for every montage we've got. Right montage, left montage, etc. Hit compile. And I've made this function pure. Do the same, just click pure. And now our dodge montages are being updated from the DT abilities. So what we can do is go to our event graph in our play montage. We're going to get montage to play, and we're going to get a select node. The index is actually going to be, if we drag in calculate dodge direction, we're going to put the dodge direction to the index. And then all we're going to do is get our dodge montages function, and we're going to hook these up. Mine are a bit crossed, these wires, but I'm not going to change it. You can change it to make yours look nicer. See, this is back right. like so. Compile and save, and then I'm going to go back to third person character. I'm going to drag in our dodge component, and I'm just going to type in dodge and get our event dodge and hook that up to started of our dodge event. Press save, and now if I play, I can dodge left, dodge front left, dodge front right. Everything's working as it should do. And you can actually add this onto your NPCs, tell them to dodge, and it will dodge correctly. And we've got a fully working modular dodge system inside Unreal Engine. So thank you for watching the tutorial. If you need any help with anything, just let me know, and join the Discord in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.